Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, and our Prime Minister here in the Netherlands was a little bit sick yesterday. So he couldn't make it to the debate about nitrogen. And this is unique because in all the almost 30 years he became a Prime Minister on October 14th, 2010. 2010. That's how long he's been Prime Minister. He never, took a day off because he was sick. But he was sick yesterday. Very interesting. So we're going to see if he's actually going to debate anyone today. If he's better, I thought I saw some articles that apparently he's going to be there. Something very interesting is happening as well. Other people from his party, so people that had an important function earlier on, they are now speaking out. And one of them is Geert Dales. And he is actually talking about a prime minister that we should get rid of him because he has psychopathic tendencies, which is very interesting because I, of course, talked about psychopaths yesterday in my video, and apparently he put this article, I'm not sure when, I think yesterday, I just saw this morning that this article was there on his website, so I think he placed it yesterday. But he's talking about all the people that had to deal with this prime minister, and he's specifically talking about, unfortunately this entire article is in Dutch, but it's a very interesting one. He's talking about, well, you have to find your own way, Prime Minister. That's the experience with Mark Rutte, because really he's not doing anything for anyone. He's mentioning victims of the government policies because of Mark Rutte. He's talking about the scandal that happened with the taxes, about the children that were never returned to their parents, about Groningen, where there's a collapse, there are quakes there because of all the gas they're trying to get from there, and there should be compensation. And they've been talking about this going to be fast and adequate. There's been no compensation whatsoever, and it's just one big mess. The students, we had a switch in, I think that now it turned into a loan. So we have students with 30 and 50,000 loans, study loans, but now they've changed this again. So new students don't have this anymore. So that's great when you were the one that now has a loan of 30,000 till 50,000 euros, and then you see other students now actually coming in and they don't have that anymore. It's just, if you look at the entire situation, also mentioning the farmers that invested in innovative agriculture and farming and now have to leave because of self-created nitrogen complications. And I'm very glad that he's actually emphasizing that it's just completely idiotic, these nitrogen policies. He's also mentioning the how you can recognize a psychopath, which is interesting. So he's mentioning this, of course, in comparison with Mark Rutte. They are verbally very gifted. They have this superficial charm. They have a lack of empathy. And you can see that how Mark was responding to what's happening with the taxes, and these people that were thrown out of their houses lost their children, and a lot of children have not returned. We're still missing, I think, 2,000 children, maybe even more. They don't know where they are. What is going on? Where are those children? Anyway, something else as well. It seems like he has no, he doesn't worry about stress and danger. He's got everything under control. He's a pathological liar. And there is this example about this, and I'm not going to get into it. It's more of Dutch politics, but something very well known about a certain other politician There was talk about that they wanted to get rid of him because this politician actually opened the case. He was part of opening the case about the taxes, about these parents, about people that were thrown out of their houses, lost their children. He was actually this politician was very specific. Omtzigt is his name. And there were talk about a function somewhere else, but he just lied about this, that he never mentioned that. We all know he mentioned that. And let me see, there's something else. He's always denying any guilt. He's never responsible for anything. Apparently he has a temper. I didn't know that, but apparently his screaming, these tirades are legendary. And he thinks he can afford himself anything, like, well, I'm not lying, I'm just remembering it differently. And he also mentioned the perfect line that he doesn't have an active memory about things. Yes, he's well known here, Mark Rutte. So this is very interesting that there's more critical voices standing up and saying these things. So it's going to be very interesting also today in the debate what's going to happen, but I don't think his position is going to stay stable for very long. It's been collapsing, and really it's just a matter of time what's going to happen next. But I thought it was very interesting. I actually looked in this video to the train crash that happened yesterday here in the Netherlands. Unfortunately, someone died, and it has to do with a crane that apparently a cargo train crashed against a crane, and there were debris falling on the tracks, and another train with passengers actually crashed because of that. That's what happened here. And I just noticed worldwide there's been so many train crashes. In Greece, there was on February 28th with 57 people that died and 85 people that were injured. We, of course, in the United States, we have the Ohio train derailment with a lot of toxic things happening there. And it almost feels like what's going on there. So I wanted to take a look just at the energy, of course, from the train crash here in the Netherlands, but I have a feeling that it's all connected in a way, and it feels to me very dark energy. I got sick when I just heard about the news. The cards I got were the King of Cups. This is the central card, the Four of Swords. I have the Four of Cups in the past, and I have the Empress underneath the Four of Swords. And for the future, near future, we have the Nine of Pentacles and the High Priest, which tells me that the dark energies were behind this. And the Magician I got as just a clarifier of this card. And I think this is very interesting. That false flag, that's what it feels like, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It just means that it's used for something else. So there are energies behind it, people that are doing things to make sure this happens, and then they are using it for all kinds of, their agenda, to push it maybe as a distraction, maybe to push something else through. That doesn't mean that the people that are involved are connected to it as well. It's very likely there are innocent people, and they unfortunately were taken in this situation. Of course, with false flags, false flags, like I said, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen or that there are no victims. It just means that it's used for something else. It's possible, especially with bigger false flags, that some people are being used to emphasize things. It has to do with what I've noticed when I was looking at the cards in my Dutch reading, of course, that this feels like this has to do with emotional terror. And someone mentioned this, and I thought that was a perfect way of describing this. This is also used to garner and gather our energies. You have to understand, I of course mentioned that yesterday, that they need our energy to thrive, to manifest, to create the world that they want. They don't have energy of themselves. So this is another way, especially with these awful things that are happening, especially when they're innocent people, they actually love that because it helps to create this emotional manipulation with emotional, people that maybe get scared because they read this and they think, oh, how awful, someone died. My heart also goes out, of course, to the loved ones of the person that died in this train crash. It's horrible. People were injured. It creates panic, it creates fear, people get emotional, some involvement in it. And that's what they want. They want to take that emotional energy as well. And sometimes they even use false flags or certain situations as rituals. So then they need a lot of people, especially innocent people, to die or to pass over, because that will give their ritual more energy. This is a spiritual war. I already mentioned it yesterday, but I just want to emphasize this. This is about our emotions, our feelings, our energy. That's what this is about. This is about the sacred feminine principle. And I've mentioned before, the pure female sacred principle is just as pure, just like the masculine is a pure thing. We need them both, and we all have those energies. They manipulate and twist it, and they want to use it to feed on and to use it to create their world. That's why they need our emotions, our feelings, our energy, our focus. And these situations can be used as distraction, because let's face it, we do have this nitrogen debate going on, which is very important right now in the politics. And of course, we have a sick prime minister we had yesterday who was a little bit nauseous. Very interesting. So but it's also about focusing. It's putting a halt to certain things and let people look in a certain direction. So it can be used for many things. And I do believe that there were dark energies involved with this situation as well. That doesn't mean that the people involved in it had anything to do with it. Absolutely not. But certain things were put into motion by maybe other people, that things can happen, unfortunately. So I understand that most people, when they look at it, that this is just an accident, it just happened, and that of course is fine if people feel that way. I heard about it and I immediately got sick, which usually means there are dark energies involved with this situation. And this is about bringing us back into our own power. It's very important that we started to understand how it works, that we can take our own energy, our own emotions, and we can have empathy, but we shouldn't pity. There's a difference between that, because if you pity someone, you're actually sending them energy. You are almost, how do you say that? In Netherlands, we have a very beautiful expression of medelijden, which is like pity, and that you can medeleven, which is just that you understand what someone is going through, but you don't let them use your energy. So it's very important that we start to become mature handling our own energies, and that we don't get carried away with these things and we don't let it manipulate us so they can use that energy. It's very important that we stop being emotionally manipulated and abused in a way. So I think this is very important, that we, become independent, step into our own power. Maybe this is interesting. I'm probably going to maybe even do a video more about the energies, emotions, and how it can be used. And especially the dark energies, they need our energy. So our focus, our emotions, that's how they try to manipulate us. That's why they purposely made sure that in our education, we are not trained to deal with our emotions and our feelings, because the less we know about that, the more easily we get manipulated. It's all connected in that way. But I wanted to leave it at this, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.